Today we are planting our used but new to us greenhouse that was put together this winter from John and my dad, and this is a big milestone, so we're really excited.
We're excited to have the roll-up sides and have all the space, and we're going to fill it up with tomatoes and cucumbers.
And a few zucchinis in here. So today will be all about getting the space planted out. Hope you enjoy it, and let's get into it. And to get to the planting part, well, first there was the prep work part, which you're seeing here. Everything was tilled and then woven weed fabric was laid over top. We are doing drip irrigation out here with gallon per hour drippers at each drip point. Except for the cucumbers, we'll have drip tape running on them. And then we're burning all of the holes in the woven weed fabric. And now we are just about ready. Prep work usually takes a considerable amount of time, and this was done in the days before. But we had a little rainstorm roll in, and it's pretty loud in this greenhouse. Quickly finalizing the drip tape underneath the weed mat, burying it in a little bit, and then we're ready to plant. And all of these tomato plants behind me here are going out into that big new greenhouse, and they really need to get out into the ground. Look how bad they look. We will probably prune a couple of these branches off and try to bury them a little bit, but we're just going to have to see, because planting in that black plastic will present its own set of difficulties, but it'll be fine. We're going to give them a good water and take them over to that greenhouse next. Load them in the truck bed. Let's go. Let's get them quickly loaded in the truck, and then we'll drive them over to their new home for the rest of the season. Now it is time to unload, and then we're going to sort all of these varieties and determine exactly where they will go, because some of these are bush varieties that will be on a Florida weave, and others we are going to trellis up to the ceiling. Here's the new greenhouse, and here is our rough map for exactly what we're going to be doing in here. So this is set up in this orientation. So right here on that far row over there, we're going to be doing zucchinis and then bush tomatoes. 3 rows, well, 2 more rows of bush tomatoes, and then some trellising tomatoes, and then cucumbers over on the far edge over here. So we're going to start planting. I'm probably going to organize all of our plants over where the cucumbers go then, because that makes most sense to me. So let's get organizing. Having this all mapped out that way has really helped us in avoiding a lot of thinking on the planting day, which is really nice because this job takes a little bit of time. Something else that I did to make it a little bit simpler is we already went through and sorted these tomatoes once whenever we were looking for ones that didn't quite make it, or seeing how many we have of different varieties, and I labeled right here on the front exactly what is in this tray. I still need to pull everything out and make sure that they are still looking good, but I know which varieties are in this tray. They're not all mixed up, and that was a time saver that helped us a lot in the past, so I did it again this year. We have them all sorted now, and how we sorted them was we put our bushing varieties over here, the ones that we're going to trellis on a Florida weave, and then we have cherry tomatoes, and over there we have other tomatoes that are indeterminate that will vine a lot, like Cherokee Purple, Anise Noir, ones like that, that are kind of like your big heirloom, pretty, beautiful tomatoes. And we like to group them together, like as far as grouping all of the cherry tomatoes together, because it makes harvest so much easier. So now we are on to starting to plant. This will take a little bit of time. Let's just get into it.
Can you squeeze it all full?
Yep.
There you go. We're using this auger bit to drill out our planting spaces for our tomatoes. It's much easier if your spot is wet. The soil comes out a lot nicer, but anyway, that's what we're doing. Get it pretty deep like that,
And then while we're planting all that dirt, we try to kick it back in the hole.
so we don't have dirt all over our weed mat. We picked the plantings based on the orientation to the sun. Our greenhouse runs east-west, and so the sun will just kind of move across like this. And we put our shorter stuff in the front and worked our way back to like from determinate tomatoes to indeterminate tomatoes, and then cucumbers in the back. And so the plants don't shade each other out. Hopefully that's the thought process behind it, at least.
We are planting our tomatoes, and what I'm going to do is I like to pinch off the lower leaves to get it planted really deep in the hole. I'm going to show you what this hole looks like, how deep it is. You see how deep that hole is? So we're going to pop the whole plant in, probably that deep. Let's see if we can get it that deep. I'm going to push it way down in there. And then since this kicked out all this soil, I'm going to push it back in. This is a little bit annoying, but do it once and it'll be done all season is kind of what I'm thinking. And this weed mat area, we don't want it muddy, so this is just something I'm choosing to do. I am making a nice little bowl for our dripper right here to have the water go directly into the little bowl right there, so that hopefully it doesn't just drain off to the side and it lands right on our plant. We are starting a new variety, Cherokee Purple. I'm going to put our little label right here. What I like to do is I like to go back after everything is planted and write it on our map. So at the start of our next variety, that's why I put this here, and then we're just going to keep on going down. And the next one, I won't put our little label in there. That's kind of my system. The root system on this one is not great, but we're going to pop it in the ground. Put it in there. Way down deep. Oh man, that one went really down. Okay. And it is okay that I'm planting them that deep, because along the stem there it will form a bunch of new roots, and that will be really good for the plant overall, for its health all season. Making my little bowl for my dripper to make sure it has enough water. These ones will be trellised up to the ceiling. And another reason I'm planting them so low is to give myself a little bit more time before I need to do that, because it's going to be quite the process for how we are doing it. So I'm going to pop that in the hole, push it way down in there, bury it. I had to take off one more leaf there. And also with these indeterminate varieties that are going to keep growing forever, essentially, until they get frosted, pulling off those leaves is not really a big deal, because we're going to end up coming in here and pruning these heavily anyways. So I kind of am just considering it like a first pruning. And then our next row will be cherries, and then we are on to our cucumbers after that. And then we're going to go back and put in our zucchinis. The cucumbers and the zucchinis will be really quick because we won't have to drill these big holes. They're just little plugs, so they will be a lot faster to do. And you might be wondering why we chose to do cucumbers, tomatoes, and zucchini in this greenhouse. And a lot of thought really went into that as far as what we know struggles here in our climate in Zone 4. We're in Montana, and sometimes growing cucumbers, well, we couldn't figure that out forever. Before we had a greenhouse, we finally figured out you need your days to be warm enough, because our cold nights here will really stunt things like that. Tomatoes, same thing. We usually don't get tomatoes until about August. They're really coming in September and into October. So that's pretty late by a lot of people's standards about when you think about when things are fresh and when they should be being grown in a garden and harvested. And this will hopefully help extend our season for these really cold sensitive crops that do not like low temperatures, especially how we fluctuate so much in the nighttime. Also, our days can be cold. We had frost last year. I think it was June 21st last year. The year before that it was June 19th. So that is pretty late in the season to have frost outside. So that's another reason why we decided to put these very sensitive plants in this greenhouse. And we were pretty hesitant to actually go ahead and plant out here because there's no additional heat source out in this greenhouse. And one of the things we've been doing, well, we have some sensors inside of our house that tell us about the temperature outside throughout the night. And we also put a sacrificial tomato plant out here. The other night, I think it was down to 28 degrees outside temperature, and that tomato plant looks just fine, the one that was in here, and it's still growing and thriving. So I think we're good to plant, we hope. The sacrificial tomato plant under drip irrigation. Not really, it's just dripping. It is May 24th today, and I know a lot of other people are planting their outside gardens, but for us, we're just not gonna take the risk outside quite yet. But in here, I think we're feeling pretty confident. And this is why we chose to weed mat the whole greenhouse. This is what the field looks like outside. It was actually planted to corn out here last year too, and we know we have a ton of weeds, so we just wanted to get ahead of it with the weed mat. We're gonna take a lunch break. The drill needs to charge anyways. The tomatoes are looking good. We have them almost all the way done. We still have about 190, 200, I don't know what it is, cucumbers to plant, so that's gonna take a little bit of time, but we'll be back with you soon after lunch. But before we can quite go into lunch, we have to get some water on these plants. And to do that, what we're gonna do is just pull these lines tight, one on each end. And we're probably gonna have to walk through and...
Looks pretty good on my end. How about your end?
It's fine on my end. We're gonna have to walk through and put them on the drippers on the plants and probably get a couple more staples when we set this up permanently. We'd pulled a lot of these staples out to run that drill. Everybody needs water. This is what we're doing right here. Moving the line onto the plants.
That end needs to get plugged in.
Okay, I'm gonna get sprayed. Wasn't bad. Got it plugged in again. They're looking good. They're getting water on them. We'll come back through, like I said before, and staple a lot of these so we make sure to have the water at the base of every plant. Tomatoes like water at their base, not overhead. This is what it looks like on the other end. All we do is we take our poly pipe, and this is a piece of 1-inch pipe. You just cut a little section of it and slip it over, and it makes a nice little end cap. Can we go eat yet?
Yeah. Right now we're doing a half of a row with 4-hook zucchini, trying to get some early crop in so we have something to sell early on. And then tonight I'm going to come back out and plant cucumbers over there on the last 2 rows when it's not quite so hot out, and so they don't get transplant shock. I think these guys will be fine though, but that's what we're doing now.
And while John's finishing up those zucchini, I'm finishing up our tomatoes, and then we are on to cucumbers next. It is actually the next morning, and we're now going to get all of the cucumbers into these little holes. This will be a lot easier because we're not drilling those big tomato holes. They're just nice little user-friendly plugs we're just gonna pop out and put in. I always like, they smell like cucumbers from the get-go. It's kind of cool. Let's get started on this next little task, and then the greenhouse will be all planted. I want to show you what I'm doing, because when we put this weed mat down, we put drip tape irrigation underneath of it, and then we tried to predict exactly where the drip tape would line up and make the holes line up on top of it, and we failed a bit. So what I'm doing is I'm finding our drip tape tube and I'm pulling it towards the holes, and then I'm kind of burying it again, because you want your drip tape to have some dirt on top of it. Otherwise it expands and contracts quite a bit, so this is one way to help prevent that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going all the way down the line, and then see how dry that soil is right there? Now I know that drip tube is right there, and it will become saturated pretty soon, and then we're just taking our little cucumber plug and popping it in. I was using a stake to help myself make these little holes, but they're so small I really didn't need it. So we'll do that. And I'm gonna I did just turn this line on, so it is full of water right now, and drip tape drips really slowly, so we're not gonna see these becoming saturated yet, but pretty soon they will be. And we're just gonna go down the line and fix our drip tape as we go. It's really not that far off, but we want it to be a little bit more accurate for the rest of the season to get some good water on all of these little roots. And we'll be done in no time. This is much quicker than the tomatoes. Couple of things. This is absolutely trashing my gloves, which is not really a big deal, but finding that drip tape and pulling it over the hard, rough edges of this weed mat, let me show you. See just how trash they're gonna be? Oh well, we have other pairs. I have a fun little helper with me today. What's your job?
giving Mommy the plants.
Yeah. And what kind of plants are these?
Cucumbers.
Correct. What's the variety?
I don't know.
Bite Alpha.
By Alpha.
And then we're gonna, save about 20 pods down the way for some pickling cucumbers that we're gonna direct seed in just to try out. We'd really like to find a really good greenhouse pickling cucumber. So we're gonna trial something over there this year. What do you think about your planting outfit there?
Not good.
Not a good choice?
No.
Oh, well, why are you wearing that outfit?
I don't know.
Because you love it?
Mud.
Oh man, on the planting outfit? You need like some good overalls or something, huh?
I should wear my overalls.
You should have. This line is much better as far as the drip irrigation being right underneath these pods. I'm hardly having to move them at all. That other line was really bad though and had to move them a lot. Thank you. Okay, time to pull it.
This is kind of fun.
It is kind of fun. I'm glad you think so. Now that irrigation is on, look how nice those pods look. And of course, things can never be that easy. Later on in the afternoon, disaster struck a bit, and this is what happened.
We had a little squall come through and sides were rolled up and the weed mat was not secured as well as it needed to be. You'd think that we would have learned this lesson by now, but clearly we haven't. So I got to try to find all these plants through their little holes and pull them up without breaking them. Some look like they may not pull through, but we'll see. Tomato plants are kind of resilient, so I'm going to do my best I can and get this all laid back out and then put some proper weight on it to make sure it doesn't lift off again. Wish me luck.
Somehow it's a miracle. Everything looks pretty much good in here. We do have a few plants that we might end up replacing. Let me try to even find one to show you. All these look decent, considering the weed fabric was ripped completely off of them. I think these will live. They're just kind of laying on their side because their root goes way down in there a little bit sideways. I think it'll be fine though. My goodness, that's exciting. This one doesn't look great, but it'll start to vine up and it'll end up looking fine. That's amazing. Some of the cukes though, they have seen better days. Like this one completely shriveled up and died. We'll just replant that. We have a bunch of extra plugs. A lot of these other ones look pretty good. Anything that didn't make it though, we'll just replant for cucumbers. That's no big deal. Oh, you're in there. Here we go. Now it's time for John to get on the tractor. We're gonna lay some more plastic weed mulch. Always making changes with things. We have some extra weight in here on the weed mat. We're gonna probably add some more extra weight. John went ahead and put some staples so that these logs hopefully don't roll if we get a big wind and crush our plants. And that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching.